And that breathing pattern called the Sudarshan Kriya that we learned, it was like a new birth. It was like so many things from the mind were cleansed off. If I tell you, don't imagine a monkey floating in a space on the moon, but then what comes in mind is the monkey. So giving direct instructions to the mind, it will never listen. The whole journey, once we reach the top, it is said then that is like fullness. You have achieved what only a human body is equipped to achieve.
Why do you say we are using only 30% of our lung capacity?
Yat pinde tat brahmande. However it is within, that is how it is outside.
This is the mudra that is going to affect digestion.
Correct.
कितने टाइम के लिए बैठना चाहिए ऐसे? When do you suggest doing this mudra? Namaste, Ashwin Patel ji.
Namaste.
Very, very warm welcome to the LSM podcast. And I'm so excited to talk to you आज breathwork के बारे में because इस टॉपिक को आई थिंक बारीकी से इंटरनेट पे किसी ने इतनी बातें नहीं की है breathwork के बारे में. So I hope कि my questions will be sincere enough and I will be able to gather for the audiences as much as we can about breathwork. उसके पहले थोड़ा आपका परिचय. For the listeners, Ashwin ji is a full-time teacher with the art of living, a traveler, a yogi, and a teacher. And maybe you can explain better a little bit. He had a very successful career as an architect, running, a fairly successful business. और उन्होंने decide किया कि he is going to give it up. Not give it up, but he is going to shift his focus. शायद बात जाए तो उधर लेके जाएंगे, but we'll focus more on breathwork today. But before that, your introduction.
Thank you so much. First of all, before introducing myself, would love to share that I'm very happy to be here. Yeah, like the name says, Level SuperMind. So one, when really meditates, they level up themselves and the mind gets very super. So I am very glad. It's a pleasure to be here. Very happy, joyful, Harshal. So like you shared, my name is Ashwin Patel. I'm a full-time teacher with the art of living by passion, a yogi by dispassion, and a traveler for my satisfaction. And I write some things, some books in my own fashion. And here I am with you for a nice discussion.
Wonderful. तो breathwork में जाते हैं. सबसे पहले breathwork important क्यों है?
I would say there are so many things which are important in our life. Yes, that is what you asked. Why is it important? Like there is career, there is ऑफिस, देयर इज़ फैमिली, देयर इज़ रिलेशनशिप, है ना. थोड़े गोल्स हैं हमारे लिए जीवन में, बहुत कुछ इम्पॉर्टेंट है. बट इफ़ आई आस्क्ड यू, all these are on one hand, all of them, and your breath is on the other hand, and you can take any one of them. Which one would you pick? श्वास एक तरफ and all the goals and dreams and career on one side.
अगर श्वास नहीं है तो वो है नहीं.
है ही नहीं, isn't it? So all that is important to us is actually second important. Yeah, we have always thought it is the first important thing in life. What is first important is breath.
तो इस पे थोड़ा और ब्रेक डाउन करता हूँ कि देखिए हमें एक ब्लेसिंग मिला है कि श्वास तो ऑटोमेटिकली हो जाती है इन अ वे. अगर श्वास है नहीं तो ये है नहीं.
हाँ जी.
बट क्योंकि ये ऑटोमेटिक है, मतलब देन है कि ये होते जाती है, तो शायद लोग इस पे ज़्यादा फोकस नहीं करते. इस पे और ज़्यादा फोकस करने की ज़रूरत क्यों है?
Absolutely. So the science says we are using only 30% of our lung capacity, है ना. सिर्फ 30% हम लोग lungs यूज़ कर रहे हैं. So without food, है ना, खाने के बिना, भोजन के बिना, human will still survive 3 to 4 days. Without sleep also we can live for 3 to 4 days. But without breath is very challenging, no? And that is one of the greatest source of energy in our day-to-day life. So if we are able to expand the lung capacity, use it properly, then throughout the day we will feel more energetic. And then beyond that, there are so many ways using the breath work. We can manage not just our body, but our mind also.
So why do you say we are using only 30% of our lung capacity?
So the lungs that we have right now, the breath usually without practicing of the pranayama or breathing exercises. So it's just happening because if you notice, as a child, it was not like that. If you notice a child sleeping and he's breathing, his whole body is kind of expanding and contracting. It's like a full breath. But as we start growing, over a period of time because of maybe some stress, maybe some workload, maybe 10th class exam, maybe girlfriend broke up. No, कुछ ना कुछ होता है because of which we are creating a lot of impressions on the mind. And mind and breath are directly connected. You notice whenever there is anger in the mind, the breath changes, it gets faster. Yes, when there is some sorrow in the mind, breath gets heavier, isn't it? And when you are very joyful, breath is very smooth. So any rhythm that is changing in the mind is changing a rhythm of the breath, isn't it? So mind में कुछ अलग अलग चीज़ें हुई जीवन में, तो breath started changing and we started not using the lung capacity fully. So now we learn also the reverse engineering. Once you are able to handle the breath, you are able to handle the mind.
So can I ask you this way also? When you said joyful, the breath is more smoothly flowing. Are we using more lung capacity that time when we are joyful?
We may be not using it 100%, but definitely more than when we are angry. Yeah. Okay. But learning this art of learning how to breathe properly, yeah, that also is one thing which happens with the breath works, with pranayama, meditation.
तो मैं क्या समझ रहा हूँ अभी कि अगर माइंड एंग्री है तो फिर ब्रेथ पे इम्पैक्ट आती है.
एब्सोल्युटली.
अगर हम ब्रेथ को रेगुलेट करना समझे तो माइंड भी कम एंग्री होगा.
Absolutely.
Would you say it's a two-way street?
It is like if A is equals to B, B is equals to A, isn't it? So once the mind is angry and the breath is fast, so at that time you start taking that breath, which you usually do when you are happy, you will notice the anger starts coming down. Yeah, mind would think, hey, this breath is not of anger. The emotions change, hormonal changes start happening in the body. Yes, the blood flow is very different. So it's so much connected. Our body and mind are linked with some bridge called as breath.
Got it. और ये so this is very interesting because I'm just trying to break it down for the user and the viewer and for myself also, that so far we don't give importance to breath work because we don't know necessarily what's the impact.
Correct.
The impact of breath work is कि आप breath पे focus करोगे तो आपका mind और regulated हो सकेगा. Breath is a gateway to regulate the mind.
True. And for me, in my experience, just sharing with you, that is the only way I've found so far. Everything else worked temporarily, but breath was something which was lasting, handling the mind, because that is one thing we do all the time. You see, mind often keeps getting stuck in something which has happened, which did not give you a pleasure, which created some conflict in the mind. Somebody might have blamed you, somebody might have said something you may not have liked. तो मन उसमें अटका रहता है. इसने ऐसे क्यों बोला, मेरे साथ ऐसे क्यों हुआ, या फिर मुझे ऐसे नहीं करना था. दिस इज लाइक इन अ डे टू डे लाइफ, दैट इज व्हाट हाउ यूजुअली द माइंड इज either getting stuck in the past, brings out all those emotions of maybe anger or guilt or regret, or it gets stuck in the future, ये होगा या नहीं, मिलेगा या नहीं. So that creates kind of some fear or anxiety. Yes. So in none of these the life are happening. Life is always happening in the present. Yeah, but the mind starts getting stuck in past or future. See, as a child we were always in the present moment. Yeah, if a child is sort of crying about something, maybe somebody might have scolded, the next moment you give him a chocolate, he's smiling. Yeah, but if there is an adult and something goes wrong with some person or some situation, somebody might have said something, so often the mind feels, oh, I'm not talking to this person for next of my life, I'm never seeing his. We are holding on to the past. Yes, and then it is eating us. It troubles our mind troubles us when we are holding on either to the past or the future. So the way is to keep the mind in the present, and that happens by tying the mind to something which is in the present. And there is only one thing we keep doing always in the present moment, and that is our breath. Yes, so an art of learning how we can tie the mind to the breath, it's very beautiful.
तो एक एडवांटेज हुआ कि आप माइंड को रेगुलेट कर सकते हो ब्रेथ के थ्रू. सेकंड इज कि आप ब्रेथ के थ्रू ब्रेथ को यूज कर सकते हो एज अ एंकर टू रिमेन इन द प्रेजेंट मोमेंट.
करेक्ट.
ये एक दूसरा एडवांटेज हुआ. कोई और एडवांटेज?
There are so many. Let us see how many we can cover in this time. So also breath is like not just the air going in and out. Along with that, the way the body is designed, like we have a hardware in the phone and we have a software also. The same way body is our hardware. Yes, and then there is software of the mind, intellect, memory and ego. Yes, the अंतःकरण that we call मन, बुद्धि, चित्त, अहंकार. तो ये हमारा जो सॉफ्टवेयर है, जैसे हमारे फ़ोन के सॉफ्टवेयर में भी अपडेट्स आते रहते हैं, तो द वे वी कैन अपडेट आवर ओन सॉफ्टवेयर ऑल्सो हैपेंस थ्रू आवर ब्रेथ.
ओके,
एंड दीज आर सम प्राणायाम, सम टेक्निक्स, बिकॉज ऑल ऑफ दीज आर
तो
नथिंग
ये
बट
बहुत
एनर्जी.
इंटरेस्टिंग है, इस पे थोड़ा और एक्सप्लोर करते हैं, बिकॉज ये एक इंटरेस्टिंग है कि आप कह रहे हो कि माइंड का सॉफ्टवेयर अपग्रेड होगा
करेक्ट.
थ्रू ब्रेथ वर्क.
Absolutely.
Can we go deeper into that?
Yes. So if you notice what is happening, this mind, intellect, memory, ego that we call the software of it is usually getting affected by so many people, situations and objects.
Right.
Now updating that would be making it stronger than getting influenced by things around.
Right.
Instead, this influencing the people.
Correct.
Yes. If there is some, you might be imagine on a holiday. Yeah.
इसको थोड़ा और ब्रेक करते हैं, बिकॉज आई
course.
थिंक व्यूअर्स के लिए ये इम्पोर्टेंट है, बिकॉज
Right.
इस फॉर दिस वील हैव टू फर्स्ट एक्सप्लेन मन, बुद्धि, चित्त, अहंकार, and we'll have to explain the, you know, the intelligence, the ego is a limited word, but I'll let you explain in your own way, man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. So I'm getting where you're going, इसलिए मुझे और break down करना है user के लिए.
So it is hand holding the listeners. Yeah, beautiful. So mind, as we know, is something we cannot touch. Yeah, many times we feel mind and brain are one. Brain is a part of the body, which is again a hardware, something that is tangible. Yeah, but mind, intellect, memory and ego, these are the four rays, I would call, of our own consciousness, of our own self, but they are always, most of the times, pointing
They are
outward.
the four rays.
Yes, four rays. Yeah, but they are usually facing outward. The whole journey of spirituality is seeing outside and also seeing within. Yeah, there are two different universes, both are infinite. This universe, we cannot see the end of it. The same way there is no end within. Yat pinde tat brahmande, no, it is said. So however it is within, that is how it is outside. So these four have their own beautiful roles again. Yeah, like the mind, usually, if you notice, is often after cravings. Yeah, I like doing this, I like doing that, but it cannot in itself really enjoy, so it needs some object and that becomes a body. So mind wants to eat pizza, but it cannot go and eat on its own, so it needs a body, it needs feet going there or placing an order and eating. But through one of these five senses the mind will enjoy. Yeah, whether by touch or by listening to some good music you might enjoy, or some nice view, you might watch a sunset like we have in Bombay. Yeah, or you might want to smell some nice perfume or taste some good food. So all of this has happened in the mind because it had experienced this earlier. एक बार sunset देखा था, I want to watch it again. एक बार chocolate brownie खाई थी, I want to eat it again. So the mind starts craving for something it has experienced
That
earlier.
is a mana.
That is mana.
That is memory.
So whatever it experiences gets saved in the memory.
Right.
But the mind is after craving through thoughts. So thoughts and emotions are in the mind. Yes. And then next goes intellect. अभी मन में विचार तो आया कि मुझे chocolate brownie खानी है. But should I eat or should I not eat is intellect. Now somebody might be diabetic, has already eaten one gulab jamun in the shadi. Yeah, एक और खाऊं. The intellect is very clearly saying, hey buddy, come on, it's not good for you. But the mind is like, नहीं ना, एक और खा लेते हैं, कौन रोकेगा? Yes. So are you listening to the mind or intellect? Plays a huge role in our life. Whether you are opening a huge business, going for a career, marrying some girl, all that decision making happens through intellect. Mind में thought तो आएगा, but what are you doing out of that thought is what the intellect does. Yeah, that is why you say such an intelligent person. Yeah, when they are taking the right decision. And then lies the memory. So memory is not just a collection of something that has happened, it has a little deeper essence to it. There are impressions that get created from so many lifetimes. Yeah, so it is not just things you remember, there are also things in memory that you have done or experienced you won't remember. Like you've been eating food or you've been doing a lot of things in so many lifetimes. All those impressions are in memory. That is why the mind picks up impressions of memory and says, I want to do this. The mind picks up impressions from the memory and says, abhi kisi ke saath there might have been a fight. And the mind picks up from memory and says, I don't want to talk to this person. Or you might
So
have.
how is this memory different from that sunset memory?
So the same way, whether it is cravings or aversions, it is, both of these are getting saved in the memory.
Got it.
Yeah. So aversions, I don't want to do this. It is definitely helpful also. Yeah. किसी ने बच्चे ने अभी गलती से touch the fire, so it gets saved in the memory. So the memory says, don't do it. Intellect is the one deciding, don't do it. But sometimes if the mind is crazy, we are not able to listen to the intellect. Yeah. Then it does things it shouldn't. And most of the crimes also happen for that reason. Intellect knows I shouldn't be doing this. But there, instead of listening to the intellect, we're giving importance to either the cravings or aversions. Aversion, I don't want this person. Or craving, let me go and steal something. Yeah. At the same time, all these are very useful tools, super useful. When we are in business or at work or maintaining a relationship, we know how to handle our own memory, our own intellect and our own mind. Everything starts from mind management, right? Whether it is wealth management, health management, money management, time management, all of this gets managed much better when we are able to do the mind management. By saying mind, I mean all the four. Yes. And last but not the least, the ego. Yes. So ego, I feel, I would say, is the sense of the identity that I am sitting in front of you. Yeah. So it is said keeping ego as you keep your nails is a very good idea. If you keep it too less, you might get hurt. If you keep it too longer, others might get hurt. Yeah. So keeping the same way ego as much it is required, not showing it, at the same time not eliminating it either. And the best way in our scriptures it is said is to not eliminate the ego but expand it to the size of universe. Aham Brahmasmi, no? Or we say Tattvamasi. So you feel one with the entire universe. So instead of I am separate and this table is separate, you are separate. Ultimately, all of this is made up of atoms. Yes, maybe in different permutations and combinations. This body is like a vehicle, right, which is given to these four rays of consciousness to perform activities, to execute. So it is permutations and combinations of different atoms and elements, 5 elements, yeah, together, so you can go and perform something. Because it had those cravings and aversions inside. Until it is fully cleared, it would want to execute. Now that is what is called as moksha. Once all of this is cleared, the cravings and aversions, karma gets cleared from all of these four, then there is no need of executing anything. Then there is joy already. Varna, I still want to go and eat that pizza. I still want to be with that person. That is giving me joy.
Got it. So just coming back to your point about the software being upgraded
Correct.
through the breath, what I hear you saying is that the breath work can actually help you potentially reduce those cravings.
Correct.
Potentially get reduced by the triggers of those memories, and potentially help your intellect decipher the right things to go after.
Absolutely.
So that you can live your purpose. Correct. That is what I'm understanding as the impact of breathwork. So maybe you can expand a bit more on that, because I just wanted to take that segue, because what you seem to be saying is that this mind software will get upgraded through the breathwork. So now, how does breathwork upgrade that mind software?
Great. That's a very good point. Just like we were sharing, I'll continue from there, that any emotion in the mind changes the pattern of breath, right? The same way, like I said, body and mind both are connected to the breath. Yeah. So there is this thing which we have often heard called as prana. Yes. So prana is one thing we take along with the breath within from this universe. So it is not just the air that is going inside. Yeah. There is also prana, which is food for the software. Yeah. Like we have so many nadis in the body. It is said we have 72,000 nadis, and these nadis cannot be seen or touched, but they are there. They are the channels of these energies, how their energy is flowing. So if we are able to breathe properly, you're also taking the prana inside properly. And that prana then upgrades the mind, intellect, memory and the ego. Now interestingly, there are certain postures. Like yoga is not just asanas. Yes, asanas is like one of the 8 limbs in Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Along with asanas, there is yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana and samadhi. All of these 8 together makes it yoga. So going deeper into it beyond the yoga, there are so many pranayamas, so many mudra pranayamas. Like for example, if one is holding this chin mudra and breathing, yes, so we are breathing right now, but it is going to certain part of the body. The prana is flowing more in that portion. Or if you do chinmay mudra, then this is for the face. Yeah, you get a very glowing face if you continue doing this every day, maybe for 10 minutes. Yeah, just keeping the hand like this and breathing. We are anyway breathing, but a little deeper breaths with awareness. And then maybe this mudra is for the mind, yeah, for the brain. Like you join it together, it looks like brain, left hemisphere and the right. So just relax the hands and breathe. So these are all like circuits. It goes
So
to
how many
that
such
part.
mudras are there? This is very interesting.
You know, it is said in our scriptures there are more than 1500 mudras which govern, which take care of different aspects of our life. So for digestion there is one. And it is said this prana that we are talking about, there are 5 types of prana. The first one, which is called as prana, prana, apana, udana, samana and vyana. So this is how the channels of prana in the body are flowing.
So can you break that down? Pranaya swaha, udanaya swaha,
Yeah, apana.
apanaya swaha, that's the excretory forces, right? Or apana is...
So in putting it in simple terms, anything from navel to top of the head is prana.
Okay.
So if prana is imbalanced, you might face problem in any of these. Could be heart, could be lungs, could be the brain, could be some pain in the shoulder. Yeah, if the prana is imbalanced, any of the channels. And then apana is from navel to the bottom where we are sitting. So those 2 chakras, the Manipura and Swadhisthana. If they are healthy, it makes one person super enthusiastic when apana is healthy. And also their reproductive system, the digestive system, all of this is also healthier. Yeah, when apana. And imbalance in it, imbalance the reproductive system, urinary system or enthusiasm, because Muladhara chakra is known for enthusiasm. Ganesha. No? And so these 2, and then Samana is just the navel region, which is super focused on digestion. So interestingly, Samana Mudra, if you notice, is this. Yeah, anything wrong in the stomach or Samana. Now what happens? Why is this interesting? When you eat, how do you eat? So we're already doing the Samana Mudra. Yeah, the digestion starts from the fingers. So that is why in the ancient times it was always advised to eat with fingers. Spoons and forks never existed anyway. Yeah. So you also, there are so many sensors on the fingertips. It sends signals to the brain that this food is warm. Send these kind of enzymes for digestion. Keep the mouth ready with more saliva because it is warm. Or this is cold, this is hard, this is soft. No, so each of these sensors then keep sending signals. This is absent when you use a spoon or a fork. Yeah, the mudra also doesn't happen. So all that happens, whatever is in our scriptures and spirituality, it is super scientific. Yeah. So this is Samana, which has to do with the navel region. And then Udana. Udana is the heart region, which is responsible for our emotions. Any imbalance in Udana Vayu is creating a lot of turbulence in emotions. You know, sometimes some people may have mood swings. But then with this Udana, it starts balancing, getting balanced. That is why pranayama is very important. Yeah. And then Vyana, the 5th one. Yeah, Vyana is throughout the body. So the channels which are running from head to toe are being taken care by Vyana. Now imagine you are flying in flight sometime, or you are in a car on a very long drive and then you get down. What is the first thing we do? We stretch our bodies. Yes. So by stretching the bodies, Vyana gets released and it starts going to all the channels wherever it might have got stuck. That is where asanas come into picture. Every day doing yoga asanas, let the Vyana flow throughout the body along with so many other benefits of asanas. And Vyana also, one interesting thing it does, any of the first 4 pranas are stuck somewhere, the Vyana goes and pushes life there. It starts promoting it towards health. So it's like all these 5 together makes us feel full, complete. So like you mentioned about breath work, what happens? Mind, intellect, memory, ego gets pushed because of these unseen energies. Yeah, seen energies we know, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, minerals, all of these. But the unseen energies play a very big role. It is said in this universe, Whatever we see is just 0.00, like that, 9 zeros and 1% is what we are seeing. Unseen is 99.99%. So that is the unseen energy which is running the show. Yeah, but they never come ahead. You can feel it, right? For example, if there is the mind that we are talking about, that is what is taking care of the seen body. If it comes in your mind that I want to go and have masala dosa, so it took the body there. So body is doing nothing. It is the mind which is taking care of the body. The same way it is the unseen force which is taking care of the seen force, isn't it? So if imagine the mind is not here, if somebody's mind is stuck in past for some thought, words may be falling on the ears, but body will not be able to understand anything. It is the mind that is understanding, right? See, all the unseen is always bigger than what is seen. Even science says that every atom, there is neutron in the center, proton which are stuck to it, and electrons which are moving. And then there is an empty space which is 99.99%. And that is full of energy and we are not able to see it.
Got it. This, this coming back to this bit about the mudras is very interesting. So, say close to 1500 mudras. So let's say that I am sitting here. This is the mudra that is going to affect digestion.
Correct.
कितने टाइम के लिए बैठना चाहिए ऐसे खाने के बाद, या when do you suggest doing this mudra?
So usually any of the mudras or breath work, it is always good to do empty stomach.
Okay.
Yeah, empty stomach, because then the breath is full. Like we discussed in the beginning, we are using 30% of lung capacity. When we breathe in, usually I would suggest the listeners also right now, just check, keep your hand on your stomach and notice when you're breathing in, is your stomach expanding or is it contracting? No, becoming aware of this. It is good to let it expand. That is a full breath where the lungs and the stomach both expand. Yeah. Once we've eaten the food, the air doesn't reach till the stomach region. So that is why it is always advised, any of the pranayamas, any meditation you do requires a proper breathing, which doesn't happen after a meal. So giving a gap of at least 2 to 3 hours. Otherwise, any of these, the best part of breath work and these mudras is you can do it anywhere, whether you're traveling in a car, you're in a metro, or you're in office, take a small break, sit at the desktop, continue doing these. Yeah. And like this increases prana in the body. Yeah, this is very good for the spine. Yeah. Somebody might have a spine issue, they might just sit like this and attend the meeting. Yeah. So you can do it anywhere, anytime, but with awareness and deep breaths in and out. So like you mentioned about the time, I would say 8 to 10 minutes is ideally the highest number of time that you can spend. That's more than enough. Typically 5 minutes, if you have no issues, you just want to do it for the sake of balancing the body, 5 minutes is a huge game changer. No, doing it every day, once or twice, morning, evening, that's good enough. And doing this before you start meditation also, you will notice a significant difference in your meditation. Yeah, a few mudras, and it differs from person to person. Like the doctor will not advise the same medicine to anyone who walks into his chamber, right?
Right.
So mudras also are very different for different people. But we'll share some mudras on the level which will be really helpful for anybody.
Okay, amazing. I'm looking forward to it, because Ashwinji is going to record a breathwork series, so I'm excited what's going to come out of it. And I'm glad that we are going to touch upon some universal mudras.
Right.
So that's going to be exciting. And so I'm coming back to, why is breath important?
Yes.
One is because through breath we can regulate the mind.
Correct.
That's one. The second is that second we touched upon the
mind, the software, upgrading the
yeah,
mind.
that was the third one. I was trying to go back to the second one, but anyway, we may come back to that. I'm sure it'll come back in the discussion. But so these are the other reasons. Any other? You said there would be many others, so I'm curious to know some of the others also. Yeah. This was very interesting because we just went into breakdown of the mind, man, buddhi, ahankar, chitta, and got some sense of how it upgrades the mind, and then you've touched upon the mudras. So I'm trying to understand what more. There's a lot to learn. So what other new things we can learn?
Absolutely. So like there's a famous saying, when there is no breath, there is no life, isn't it? The same way, knowing the breath, KNOW, no breath and no life. The knowing the life becomes easier when we start knowing our breath.
Okay.
Yeah. So becoming aware of one thing all the time would be of the breath, of how deep is it right now, which lobe of my lung is it entering, is it touching my stomach or not. Once we are aware of this, anything that we are doing on the outside, on the physical level, whether it's a communication, whether it is eating something, no, you will notice all of it becomes more tastier or more healthier. So just attending to the breath, knowing the breath is knowing the life.
Yeah, this is actually linked to your second point. It just came back to me that your second point was that you will be able to be more in the present.
Correct.
By watching your breath, and this is a subtler explanation of that what you're giving, which is the fourth.
Yes.
That if you know breath, you will be able to taste life better.
Correct.
So yeah, maybe your own experiences on this will help.
So I would say earlier when I was into interior designing, in fact, if I can dial a little more back in time, when I was very young in the school, I had joined yoga because that was one subject which was optional after the school hours, but I was always looking forward to it. While most people ran to attend some tuitions, I sat here learning how to improve my intuition, yeah, instead of going into the tuition. And since I was very young, I learned Surya Namaskaras. In fact, even before learning the importance of sun, I learned the importance of Surya Namaskaras. Even before learning how a tree functions, I learned how to do Vrikshasana. Yeah. So there were times like that. But one thing I could never do in those days was sitting with my eyes closed and meditating. Those 10 minutes, the yoga teacher would tell, now we will meditate. I would feel like running away. This is one thing I can never do. Yeah. Close your eyes and there are a lot of thoughts, a lot of emotions. Yeah, this had always happened. And handling the mind was a big task, big challenge. I grew up, did so many asanas, would learn a lot of things about pranayama, would read books. When I was very young, my mother taught me Hanuman Chalisa and told me that, having a master, having a guru in life changes the life. You will be able to see so many dimensions of this universe which you would have never seen. And that time I had this sankalpa, this intention that I need a master. But as I grew up, I was in college. One day there was this movie, we went to Kung Fu Panda. Yeah. And those were the days the yoga part was slightly, I would say, fading out of life, though I was doing it, but the sincerity was slightly less. And then I watched the movie and I see that the panda there, he finds a master, Master Shifu. And then how spiritually from within his life changes. An ordinary person can have so much transformation. So that is when I again got back onto this journey of really going out, looking for a master. Never found one. Then I was back to interior designing work. And one day one of my friends calls me and tells that there is this master, there is this Guru, Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankarji. And he teaches amazing breath work. You should go and attend a Sudarshan Kriya and you will see how the life transforms. And I gave a number of reasons for not doing it. Because I told her I've been there, done that, not working as much I thought it should be working. It is enjoyable for sure, but of course now I'm busy with interior designing. So she said, you just go for one day instead of the 6-day workshop. The breath work in that you will see would have been something you would have never experienced. Finally I went for a day. And that breathing pattern called the Sudarshan Kriya that we learned, that was taught, it was like a new birth. It was like so many things from the mind were cleansed off. I never imagined just a breath could do this. Like for example, if there is something you are holding in your hand, it won't hurt. But if you're holding it for 10 minutes or an hour or a day, it starts hurting. The same way we've collected a lot of impressions on our memory, which are making this software we are calling heavier, yeah, which are not required. You may not need certain photos and videos in your phone anymore. It is just making the file heavier, the whole structure heavier. So just deleting, wiping, cleaning it. And then I realized whatever instructions we give to the mind is not listening. It is this breath work which is making it happen. Like for example, if I tell you, don't imagine a monkey floating in a space on the moon, yeah, or monkey sitting on a tree, don't think of it. Then what comes in mind is the monkey. So giving direct instructions to the mind, it will never listen. That is where this breath work comes into the picture, to channelize the mind. And channelizing is usually when there is water everywhere, it becomes a flood, which is very destructive. But once it is channelized, it's a river and it's super useful for power, generating electricity, villagers, farming, a lot of things can be done, irrigation. The same way, once the mind is channelized, and that happens, in my own personal experience, I have seen it is happening only through breath work. Yeah. So these breath works, the rhythmic pattern of breathing, yeah, we learn in this Level SuperMind, the content also that we'll create for breath work and mudras and meditation. How using that, it creates a circuit in the body where the mind starts getting channelized instead of it going haywire. So this was just a background story of how I experienced it and how it started transforming things ahead. So then when I was in business, there might have been something which would have triggered a lot of emotions in me. Something might go wrong here and there. Something might go right which would give you immense joy. But on contrary, again we would start seeing what is not okay. For example, if somebody might give you 10 compliments, but one person might say everything, you're looking great, but you've developed a lot of dark circles, buddy. So next thing in front of the mirror, we'll want to notice the dark circles. Same way in life, there could be everything amazing, but one thing here and there may not be right, and our mind gets stuck there. So through breath work, that aspect gets cleansed off. You start seeing the life as its whole. There are so many things, so many opportunities. Then the level of confidence is very different. When you look at things that you have, and not only focus on what is missing, not just focusing on dark circles, but also seeing I got 10 compliments, I have a nice shirt, I have a beautiful ring, somebody said I have a good smile. So also focusing on life, on what we have, boosts us to go where we have to.
I'm interested actually to dive into this circuitry, that you spoke about, which is that because I think this is the crux of it from whatever we are discussing. Because philosophically, I think a lot of the viewers are able to, have exposure to some of the philosophy that we are talking about, but really the essence
Yes.
of this circuitry, and why should I take up this practice mainly. I think that's the, at the buddhi level, people want to be convinced
I understand.
of that so that it can break down. So, there was something interesting that you had touched upon about the 72,000 nadis, and then you've touched upon this circuitry. I think we made an interesting connection in this short time that we've spoken, which is about this analogy of the software getting upgraded because of the prana. This idea of your emotions getting regulated, which actually allows the software to upgrade.
Correct.
And being in the present moment, which allows you to actually be in flow and like really just do what you are supposed to do in that moment.
Absolutely.
And then by doing what you're doing in that moment, you can taste life better, and you can, extract, not extract is a wrong word, but you could feel more joy in that moment.
Correct.
So I think that's a great summary, what you have given us in a short time.
Yes.
And that's really highlighting the importance of breath. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the, what's happening in the circuitry. So how is breath affecting the circuitry and making it more aligned? Because that's what you seem to be saying, that
Yes, that is what happens.
that's what happens.
Correct. So all the summary that you just shared, these are the results of the breath work.
Yeah.
So what breath work really does, along with these 72,000 nadis that we mentioned, two major dominating nadis are Ida and Pingala, or you call it Surya and Chandra nadi. So these are connected to our nostrils. Yes. So whenever, if you notice, if your left nostril is open, the temperature of the body is slightly cooled down. And the emotions of the mind are also different when the left is open. As compared to when the right is open, there is more of planning, more of understanding, more of decision making that happens with the right. With the left, we are a little more emotional. So with this breath work, also what happens is these nadis start getting balanced. Yeah, because we are breathing through nose. So nature is very super intelligent. Yeah? So it has given the most dominating nadis.
So if you are able to balance your nadis, you are able to align in the moment emotion and thought.
Yeah, logical and emotional. Either ways. That is what is a complete picture. Somebody who is very emotional about something may not be able to take the decision. Only logical, you lose sensitivity about people around. Yes. So having both together makes us a complete human, right?
This is very interesting. You know, this only logical, you lose sensitivity of people.
Correct.
And if you be too overtly sensitive, you can lose logic.
You become oversensitive about yourself and start self-pitying. You know? So then these nadis again play a major role. Breathwork plays a huge role in making us balanced. Like riding bicycle or holding a bag on one shoulder all the time, we may start drooping, but need to balance. So breath work comes into picture there. That is why we have two nostrils. Why not just one? Isn't it? We could have one nostril. Nature could have made us like that because there are these two nadis. And also the temperature of the body keeps fluctuating during the day. So this is called the Surya and this is the Chandra. So which is cool.
So the Surya is the right.
Right.
Okay.
And Chandra is the left.
Okay.
So when...
So is that also linked to Surya being rational and Chandra being emotional?
So usually what happens is right side of the nadi is more connected to the left side of the brain and left side of the nadi to the right side of the brain. Now left side of the brain is again logical and rational.
Right. Right.
And right side is creative, emotional, music, all of that. So by doing this, of course, both of these get balanced. Along with that, the body temperature gets balanced. Often what happens in our day-to-day life, you might be out in the sun. The sun falling on the skin would sense and send signals to the brain that this is the temperature outside. So you adjust so and so temperature in the body. But when we put on goggles, we do not see the bright sun as bright it is. So the eyes are sending some other signal to the brain that, hey buddy, no, not that, I maintain this temperature. So then the brain gets confused. But through this pranayama of breath work and nadis, maintaining the temperature happens through our own prana instead of just the signals. And that keeps us more younger, more healthier and happier for a long run.
Very interesting. So again, what's the link between youth and breath? Like, you know, a lot of people, like for example, you know, I'm one of the things, a lot of people are facing premature graying.
Right.
I'm one of the people you can see on my hair. Now, is there a link between breath and youth? I don't know how old you are, like your face looks pretty young.
Yeah, so let's keep it as a guesswork. Maybe people can comment taking a guess. Maybe we'll reveal it in the end.
Yes.
Okay, so a very valid question. Have youth and breath, though they rhyme and they're actually connected. It's not just the body of how old the body is, but how you are taking care of the body and the mind, which keeps one younger. So like we discussed, breath work and mind are directly connected. Longer the breath, more the anti-aging happens.
Okay.
So in each minute, if one takes 15 to 20 breaths, you start getting older fast. If you're taking lesser breaths, you slow down the aging. So the breaths are longer.
So what's the link to that? Like why, if the longer the breath, the longer the aging?
Now, if you recollect, if one is very angry or agitated, irritated, it shows on the face, isn't it? And the breath is also shorter. On contrary of that, when the breath is longer, you are cooled down. The face is calm. The hormones are flowing the way it should. There is no imbalance in the blood happening. The enzymes are flowing the way it should. The circulatory system is very happy when you are cooled down. And that is the kind of people usually like. This is such a cool buddy, you know, बहुत chill बंदा है, such a cool dude, है ना, तो अच्छा लगता है. The cool dude is the one who would not react to everything that is happening on the outside, isn't it? Not just his appearance, but his whole state of mind. So talking about the state of mind, now if there is a lot of emotions running, then we start aging faster because it affects the body immediately. But if we are able to slow down on the emotions, not react, but take proper action. No, गुस्से में कुछ बोल दिया, फिर we feel अरे regret, I should not have said that. But you are more aware, focused because of breath work. Your breaths are longer, mind is cooled down, and you are fully energized. Then you are functioning. Otherwise, we become slaves of our emotions. Some feeling comes up, we want to react. I feel like eating this, I'll do that. I feel like saying that to that person, we do that. कुछ अच्छा करना होता है, we postpone. कुछ ठीक, somebody want to show an anger to someone, you want to pick the phone and do it right now, not after 1 year. But you want to say I love you to someone, we'll think a lot, बोलूं या नहीं बोलूं. No? So then this starts reversing with the breath work. You start doing good things now and postpone not so good things to the later. This is something which happens very automatically.
So how does that happen? I mean, I want to investigate that a bit more, that how, because this is also an interesting advantage that we are talking about for people to adopt breathwork as a part of their lives. There's two guidances that you've given in terms of the daily routine. One is you've given the guidance of really
the mudras
in your sitting posture.
Correct.
And that's immensely interesting. I don't know if we'll have enough time to go into all of them today, but it's an interesting segue. And personally, I feel like for us as the app also, that's very interesting to talk to you about, because it's very, very interesting. How can I do it in my day-to-day? That's one. Second is that from the point of view, you've also mentioned a guidance saying that before your meditation practice, you could have a pranayam practice, and that will help you deepen your meditation practice, or make it really interesting. You've also touched upon all of these advantages of upgrading the software and being in the present moment, and I'm constantly repeating that because I feel like it needs to permeate.
Correct.
And
I get that.
Interesting thoughts, and being able to taste life better. And now you're talking about the engineering of the mind or engineering of the body. And there's a interesting thing you touched upon about the right nostril being connected to the left and the left being connected to the right side of the brain. And here you've touched upon what we are coming to is this last bit that you touched upon, which is that actually you could expand this last bit where you were talking a bit more again. I'm just trying to recap because I'm learning so much. I'm just trying to recap it for myself also.
No, I get that. So like we were talking about these two nadis, just expanding on that. When they are balanced, there is some madhyama nadi, the center nadi, that then opens up when we are regularly practicing. Once that is open, that is the whole motto of most spiritual seekers, to awaken that madhyama, the Sushumna
Sorry,
nadi.
I was coming back to what you were saying. You were saying that you will postpone the bad thoughts. And you will immediately act on the good things. Correct. So how does that happen? Like how does then the brain start to decipher that actually this is good, this is bad? And I mean, to share, I feel like personally in my meditation practice also, as I've deepened it, this has happened, which is that maybe I'll be in that moment and I'll be able to decipher saying that, no, this is not what is to say right now.
Correct.
And actually you'll decipher, you'll break down the thought, send this back, just store it because it's not there for right now, but it's there in your memory. But to take out of this situation, this is the way to take out of the situation. So let's say you're in a heated situation where we have to define the future of how to build a particular department.
Right.
And in that building of that particular department, either I could react angrily because the person is not, kind of doing exactly what I need them to do. But again, there's a sense of I-ness coming in. So you recognize, okay, there's this sense of I-ness coming in, but the task is actually this. Yes. So let's regulate our thoughts to form that task. True. And leave this I-ness behind. But in this I-ness also, like you said beautifully about the nails, there is this I-ness, but there is also something here which is stopping that person from doing what you need to. So keep that memory.
Correct.
So don't just like discard it as self-hate or self-pity, like you used it very beautifully that, don't belittle your own ego.
Correct. Absolutely.
Keep it there. But then the way out is here. So like, how does that breakdown of that situation happen? You would have observed this a lot more meaningfully in life. So
just sharing the same way. Many a times when I was into interior designing business, there were times when I had to show anger, but I was not angry. It was only showing on the outside. So it is coming from the throat. Going a little below from the heart chakra, it becomes emotions. Then it starts eating you. So व्यवहार जो संसार में करना है वो तो करना ही पड़ेगा. Now, if somebody is not performing what they should and you're paying them and their client has paid you, there is a target to be met, deadline to be met, but that's not falling in place. So you are showing anger but not being angry. That started happening. So you are witnessing that, okay, I have to say this, so that he doesn't repeat it or he does it correctly. You are back in your cabin singing a song, enjoying your own life. You've forgotten that you were showing anger also. Yes. So there's a difference between showing something where needed, that is lasting only for a minute. But being angry can take us for 5 hours or 5 days, or sometimes we don't even know why I am not feeling good today. So because you were angry an hour ago or 5 hours ago. Yes, then that starts reflecting everywhere, whatever we touch then. Same way with this breath work, yeah, we are able to, like you were discussing, how does that start happening? I feel in my own experience, you start acting on things instead of reacting. You start seeing the picture as a whole. Yeah, and everything that you were giving too much importance to starts looking a part of life. It is not life in whole. Yes, so like there is this furniture in the room, there is the sofa, there is this table, but they are all inside the room. So the room is always bigger than them. Like that, all these events that are happening are inside the life. This starts coming up from within with the breath work, meditations, that all these are just events of life. They are not life. Life is something else. Then you don't get caught up in it, but you are still acting on it. With reaction, what happens? Something not okay, we want to act on it now. Good things, we start postponing. But when you start seeing the whole picture, the expansion, the upgradation of the mind that happens because of breath work, then you start giving importance to things as much it is needed, or you give it but don't get stuck. We are giving, see, everything in this universe is changing, as we know. Every atom we think is not moving, but electron inside the atom is moving at the speed of 2200 kilometers per second. We may think this furniture is not moving, but inside that the atoms are constantly moving. So everything in this universe is moving. So nothing is going to remain the way we think. It is going to decay or get older or change. The situations also will change. That if starts affecting our own mind. Why did this change? Why did this person change? Why did they not do the way I wanted? It will be like that. But with this breath work and meditation, we start accommodating them. Yeah. With that accommodation, then it doesn't make a difference. When we are not accommodative in life, yes, kyun hua, that starts disturbing.
I think this is very important. I hope people reach this stage of the podcast. What I love about everything that you've spoken today is that it's very linked to life as is. So the lovely part about what you spoke about is the accommodation. Okay. Because most people have the misconception that by going into these practices, everything will go away. And that's sometimes the expectation that this will go away. My situation will become less intense. Your situation is not becoming less intense. Your ability to deal with the situation is becoming more strong.
More wider.
More wide.
In fact, when the life is more wider, you get more things instead of losing things. Yeah. So a spiritual person is not giving away things. In fact, if they are giving away emotions that are not needed. They are giving away the small-mindedness that might have been there sometime. They are giving away this ability of reacting to everything. But then they are expanding the life to the size of infinity. Yes, the more and more people, situations and objects, life may ye gadbad ho gayi, it's okay. I'm stuck in traffic, it's okay. I cannot avoid it right now. Yes, instead of I should have started 5 minutes earlier. I told you should have taken that route. Why did you take this? Well, missing out on life with all of this. Life is happening. It's very happening. Life is a celebration every moment. In fact, celebrating when there is a festival or when there is money is a very small way of living. Celebrating every moment, yes, no matter where you are, is what starts happening when the mind is expanded and upgraded. And that happens through these practices of meditation and breath work.
towards the end, I want to take it again more towards this engineering of the mind. You know, there's lots of interesting things you've told us about. So you spoke about the Ida, the Pingala, and the Sushuddha Nadi.
Yeah, Sushumna. Sushumna Nadi.
Sushumna, sorry. Sushumna Nadi. So when it comes to the Sushumna Nadi, can you talk us through a little bit about, you know, this correlation between the Ida, Pingala, and the Sushumna, and what role is each one playing inside each one of us? And also, if there are 72,000, why do these three get spoken about more?
Right. So, like you see, we also know that in this software there are these powerhouses called chakras. No, major are 7, but then there are 108 chakras in the body. The same way, there are so many. If we go from here to Surat, yeah, there are so many small branches and ways and villages and towns that might come. But highway is highway. Yes, the same way we have these big channels from which again the smaller ones branch out. Just like we have a very big artery and vein that starts from the heart, but then they start branching out in a smaller divisions later, right? The same way it is said from the bottom of our spine, which is Muladhara chakra, yeah, and then the Swadhisthana chakra, Manipura chakra, Anahata chakra, and we have the Vishuddhi chakra, Agna chakra, and Sahasrara. So the journey is from going from bottom to the top. Yes, that is where the joy is. Each time we have felt joyful in life, whether it is about something which was 5 minutes lasting or something which was for a long time, the energy has moved upward. Whenever you were down, the energy goes downward. Where is it going now? It is going in these channels that we spoke about. The nadis, the major nadis, the Ida and Pingala nadis. So these nadis are said they are from bottom of the spine till this chakra, the 6th chakra. But the center nadi reaches the top, where it is pure bliss. Also, if we notice in this universe, everything is in opposites. Yeah, the same way like Muladhara chakra is known for enthusiasm or an opposite of that, dullness. And then the second chakra is known for creativity or procreativity. This is known for greed and jealousy or opposite of it, joy and generosity. Yeah, this is for the emotions of love or hatred. When you are feeling loved, you feel here. When there is hatred or anger or fear, that is also again here. This is known for grief, when you are sorrowful, or also about gratitude. You see, your breath will choke when you are scared about something as a human. Yeah, or when you are in gratitude also the breath chokes. And then this is for focus, and the opposite of it again, it is also for anger. When you are angry, you are not focused about anything. When you are focused and fully aware, you cannot get so angry. So these chakras can act on any one side. It cannot do both simultaneously. Yeah. You can either be enthusiastic or you can be dull. You can either be focused or you could be angry. Now these are all in the opposites, this whole universe, up, down, day, night, good, bad. But there is no specific word of an opposite to this thing called as bliss. There is no opposite to bliss. You may define it, I am not feeling blissful, but there is no immediate contrast to bliss. And that is the oneness, the union that happens with the center nadi. So by doing this, it is not just for a spiritual person. It is for anybody in our day-to-day life. We want to feel enthusiastic. We want to feel joyful. We want to feel loved. We want to have gratitude. We want to have focus. So all of these are in our day-to-day life so much more useful. So with these breath work and meditations and the pranayamas that we do, the energy is always moving upward then, rather than sometimes up, sometimes down. That is what is called as mood swings. Sometimes you are feeling this, sometimes again go down, again you go high. The whole journey, once we reach the top, it is said then that is like fullness. You have achieved what only a human body is equipped to achieve. Yeah. Now a dog, we may tell the dog do the breath work, he'll not understand because his nervous system is not equipped. If he is able to listen to our instructions, sit down, hey stand up, let's walk, then we feel great, dog is able to understand. Yeah, but these are just looking at it, we are as a human able to do so many things, understand there is a sunrise and sunset, able to take rocket and land somewhere, yeah, go on flights. Dog will never understand there is a sunrise happening, sunset happening, there is a moon, there is a sun, it doesn't understand. The nervous system is very limited. But whatever we think we know so much more than dog, in compared to universe, it is also nothing. But then it is becoming absolutely everything when we are able to touch this chakra, and that is one of the biggest achievements of all this breath work and meditation. And like I said, it also helps in your career, in your relationships, because you're able to maintain your energy high. Nobody would like a company who is always boring or dull. So that energy and enthusiasm goes high with breath work. Nobody would like a person who is not joyful all the time, who is complaining. So then the joy chakra opens up. Nobody would love a person who starts hating everyone, whoever comes. So that love chakra opens up. So all of this makes you a very good boss, a very good leader, a very good friend, a very good companion, a very good family member. So you are like a rock star wherever you go. You know?
And it's a wonderful space to end the podcast, because we've touched upon so many topics that, and I want to thank you for really just going into, with so much simplicity, going into depth.
No, it was totally a pleasure, because this is one thing I love. I have taken these workshops in so many places, and each time the crowd of audience, whoever is in the front, whether it is in US, India, Dubai, we're also going to a few countries in the upcoming days. We keep teaching this in Indian Navy, corporates, so many places, and everywhere there is this wonderment of things which are not seen, but once they experience, I'm sure with this app, people, once they start experiencing more of breath work and meditation, all that we are talking now will start turning practical. Until then, they remain words. Yeah, somebody who has never eaten a gulab jamun, we tell them it is sweet, nice, warm, but until they eat it, they will not know the taste. So I really recommend all the listeners here that go ahead on the Level app and just enjoy that gulab jamun that we are talking about right now, this last 1 hour, and experience all that we spoke.
Yeah, thank you. That's so kind of you. But I think more kind is the way you have shared it with so much lucidity, simplicity. And I think that's a very unique hallmark of the way you are doing it. So I thank you so much for
It was a beautiful
sharing this.
conversation. I'm very glad to be here.
And thank you for creating on the Level SuperMind app as well. And thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing so much.
Absolutely a pleasure. No, since ages it has been like that. The only purpose of life has been to go outside, at the same time go within. So the sole purpose of life became the sole purpose of life. Yeah, and then there are so many things in life that earlier mattered, but now there are so many things which we start seeing what matters, what doesn't matter, then the whole picture around changes. Yeah, so it's just very beautiful to come here and discuss all of this with you, and been a very good pleasure.
Thank you. On that note, thank you.
Thank you so
Namaste.
much, Harshil. Pleasure.